Hello folks, in this video I will show you a couple of sites where you can go to get loads of no experience telecommute occupations, and one of them is called lionbridge.com. Here you can figure out for the most part opportunity telecommute occupations, yet on the off chance that you're searching for something genuinely adaptable, you can go here and snap join or collaborate at the highest point of the page, and afterward look down where it says plunderers, annotators, and analyzers, and afterward click learn all the more, so a ton of their positions will be connected with things like assisting web crawlers with ensuring that index lists are significant, that promotions are applicable to index lists, and things like that, ensuring virtual entertainment destinations are working the same way. And you have bunches of occupations from one side of the planet to the other, so when you click view all positions you'll see a few from one side of the planet to the other in various dialects, and most of the time they'll resemble perhaps 10 or 20 hours every week, and you could make like 10 an hour or so here, and you will have things like assisting like web with satisfying evaluators or promotion evaluators, which is what I recently referenced, and afterward you'll have perhaps a couple of different things like interpretation, or you could have a few different things like that, yet you have like web-based training expert too, yet to the extent that simple work from home positions that don't need a lot of involvement, you can look at these like a web-based information examiner for instance. The vast majority of these have very much like capabilities that are expected of you, so like this it'll rely obviously upon what nation you're in and what language you picked for the gig. So for example, this one is English in the US of America, so familiarity with English is fundamental. You should be residing in the US for the last 3 successive years, working information on neighborhood and public geological regions, passing an internet-based assessment to exhibit capacity of perusing and applying the rules, insight and ability of utilizing on the web maps, web search tools, and web exploration, and experience with various patterns and things like that. Clearly you'll require a fair web association, and you will peruse and apply composed rules on the most proficient method to assess and rate the errand. Kindly note, on the off chance that conceivable, you'll get direction for numerous undertaking types throughout the program, and total assignment in electronic assessment instrument up to 20 to 20 hours out of each week, relying upon task accessibility and things like that. So more often than not they don't specify the way that you must have no sort of web-based degree or any degree whatsoever, must have no sort of involvement or any of that stuff. Not terrible, but not great either. Like this occupation is a ton of like examination, and only sort of going through this instrument and finishing responsibilities. It's straightforward, and afterward a ton of their positions will be to some degree like that. So on the off chance that you need basic simple work from home positions, look at Lionbridge. Another to look at is Switch, with which has to do with time following and efficiency and stuff like that, apparatuses. That is essentially what they do. Toggle.com, assuming you go to their work segment at toggle.com occupations, you can see their positions here. They likewise take care great advantages that I in a past video, yet they additionally give you a PC €20 financial plan to set up your workspace repayments for things like exercise center enrollments. They'll uphold you for like new telephones, eyeglasses, and things that you use for your work, so they have a ton of great advantages, and you basically can work overall from home. Thus, you can be in many nations regardless. Apply here. And they have a couple of occupations accessible here. Generally, they'll have like 3 or 4 that let you telecommute. And they likewise have excellent scores on a spot like Glassdoor, where representatives rate their employer, so they have like a 4.6 out of 5-star rating there. However, rather than requiring a resume and things like that when you go to a task at Flip's particular employment page, it says step through the examination, as opposed to expecting you to have a specific measure of years experience or a specific degree. So rather than that you step through the exam, you demonstrate that you have what it takes to work effectively. And in the event that you work effectively on the test, they should seriously mull over recruiting you. And this is the very thing I accept as presumably the future of employing for a ton of ways, since it appears as though continues are somewhat of a dated approach to doing things. And on the off chance that you have these extremely great tests that demonstrate you have abilities, how could they care that much about you? Know whether you got what it takes from school or whether you got from showing yourself. So step through the examination, and afterward you can go through, and assuming that you excel on the test for Flip for the position, you can land the position. So I trust it's a very decent spot to look at to telecommute without experience. Another is considered Alliance Advancement, same sort of thing as Flip. Aside from their promoting organization, they spend significant time in computerized promoting, web optimization, website composition, and stuff like that, yet they have typically a larger number of occupations accessible than Flip at a given time. So if you have an desire to check Alliance Advances, you can check their professions sort of in the base right under Reach Us, and afterward you can go here and apply for a variety of sorts of occupations. A ton of them will showcase related or perhaps a couple of visual communication or improvement occupations like web engineer occupations, things like that. So when you go to apply to one of these, like say front-end designer, similarly as an arbitrary model, it'll let you know far off working from home is discretionary, no school or experience required in the event that you excel on the abilities test. So another organization that is somewhat embracing this better approach for employing as Alliance advances with their abilities tests too, so you can go after position. You finish this up and afterward apply, step through the exam, and afterward you can obviously telecommute. And you have many kinds of positions that you can arrive, so it's sort of another rush of organizations that are employing in a sort of more a refreshed way without managing resumes. Now to resemble a clinical recorder, you can look at scribeamerica.com and you can some of the time secure positions here that don't expect you to have insight to, and to the extent that like clinical copyist related positions, they typically have many accessible, so you can click apply now in the upper not too far off where it says vocations cut apply now sort of goes this way and that, and afterward you can see their vocation potential open doors there, so you can go to apply now here sort of in the center of the page. You can pick a state or you can only sort of look at here and see everything that they have, and it'll say to you when the occupation was posted obviously. And what you'll do, and a ton of these are about to express something like recorder, so you realize clinical copyist related positions. Afterward you can tap on any of these, essentially particularly in the event that you're searching for telecommute, and sure it says that, so rather than recorder you would look something else for like telescribe to telecommute, and it will as a rule say remote slice telecommute, and afterward the express that you'll be in. So I'll tap on this one as an illustration. It'll take you to the full work page, thus you'll be going about as a doctor's very own FARA productivity accomplice. It's fundamentally the thing you're doing, so you'll do things like reporting patient experiences, surveying earlier clinical records, organizing care for patients in a clinical or office setting, and that's what things like. And you can work with various suppliers across numerous strengths and get an exceptional understanding on medication. All in all, so they don't enlighten you a ton concerning what you will require. I accept this is somewhat of a passage level kind of work, and this is likewise part-time. A ton of these will be part-time, so remember that it very well may be somewhat of a part-time gig, yet assuming you're searching for say a clinical related a work like a clinical recorder, you can apply here. Telecommute, you shouldn't must have insight to apply. To wrap things up, you have an organization that is more like Lionspan called Teamwork.ai. They have many quite recently similar to seasonal positions that you can get so many classes. You have a variety of dialects, heaps of various nations on here. On the off chance that you click search on their work segment, you can see all of what they have. Clearly you need to limit it down, yet a portion of these don't for even a moment matter truly what nation, and they say overall. So again, from one side of the planet to the other, loads of various dialects. You have record occupations, you have like web assessment occupations like I referenced for Lionbridge, you have record interpretation, you have a wide range of various sorts of things, promotion assessment, so essentially bunches of only sort of simple work from home positions that don't need a degree and don't need insight. So when you click on something like web-based swarm laborer position, they'll give you capabilities, obligations, like for this one capability incorporate like communicate in English very well, obviously can peruse and adhere to English language directions, no less than 18 years old or more, established consciousness of the way of life typically in your country, mindful they don't have like a ton of whatever has to accomplish with like work experience, schooling level, or any such thing. So basically assuming you need some simple stuff, look at like Lionbridge and collaboration for like simple part-time stuff. On the off chance that you need something like a clinical copyist, look at Copyist America. Assuming you need a more elevated level positions like coding, or you believe should do something connected with say showcasing or something to that effect, look at like Alliance Advancements or something like Switch. So those are maybe one or two ones to look at. Likewise, go to Be Sure or Glassdoor.com and peruse surveys from these representatives for the organizations. You'll get a smart thought what it resembles to work there before you apply. For example, to Be Sure will have like a You Realize 5-star rating framework. Alliance Advances, for example, has a 4.7 out of 5 stars out of 46 audits, so most certainly properly investigate things prior to applying. And those are a couple of the better destinations you can use to find no experience telecommute occupations that generally have a ton of openings at some random time. So ideally this was useful, and I'll see you in the following video.